Hey, what's going on? It's your sister Michelle here. I'm doing another video, but it's going to be the last one probably for a little while. Happy holidays to my family. You know, I drop my videos when I feel like dropping them, and I want to think about y'all. That's what I do. Anyway, I want to give you love and light, and I hope you're doing good on your personal journeys, and I'm wishing you nothing but the best. And I know that you can get through this. If you're struggling, listen to your sister. You're going to be just fine. Been there, done it, okay? This video right here is going to be a story time. Well, I did a narcissistic story time, my journey with the narcissist. I did that before. And I said one day I would do my narcissistic discard story. Y'all ready? I think it's time for me to do that because I'm hearing a lot about that. And people keep asking me about my discard story. Like, not the journey with it, but the discard with the narcissist. So I said today would be a good day to do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting out a lot of other videos, so let's just put this out and give you some encouraging words. Your sister loves you so much. Told you I've been there and done it. You ready? Well, let's go. Okay, fam, now listen. Here it is, my narcissistic discard story. Well, first thing first. I told you about my other journeys, with the narcissist, how I've been with him for years, and I told you about all the stuff that happened. You can go and look at my other videos and see what I have been through, okay? But we're talking about the discard. Well, what happened with me was this, okay? Now, my narcissistic ex, his brother had passed away, a couple years prior to the discard. But that's kind of when I got to go back to, because that's when the discard really started happening, and I seen a big difference that I never seen before. Well, his brother passed away, and when his brother passed, I noticed his behavior, and I thought it was because of his brother. Maybe it was just a little bit, they'll never show compassion. You know how that goes. And maybe he was acting this way because of that. We were still kind of in a relationship. Well, we were. I ain't gonna say kind of. We were in a relationship. It's kind of rocky, but he went out of town to go live with his older brother, who was not the brother, the older brother. One had passed, and he went to live with the older brother of his. Well, let's go back a little bit. When his older brother had passed away, and it was time for the funeral and everything, when it came around, when the family started coming in, and you know how it is and everything to for the burial and all that, one day I went over there, and one of his exes, his ex-baby mothers, were there. Now, supposedly, they hadn't been together, and since at that time we were together 13 years, so they had actively been together 13 years, and they do share kids, I understand that. Showed up to the funeral, which that put a sour taste in my mouth because he had been lying the whole time saying he wasn't talking to her and it wasn't that, but they lie. So she showed up and she brought her children with her and whatever. And even though that was the case, I can understand it. And then all of a sudden, he went missing for 2 days. Well, needless to say, I found out he was in a hotel room with the ex supply, whatever you want to say, baby mama, for days, and left me and my 2 children alone by ourselves. Now, that kind of, that ain't kind of, it took me back, because I'm like, you act like that's your girlfriend or in the current relationship, and I'm not. You're putting me to the side, but that's something that they do. Because keep in mind, this person also lost a daughter. I said this in another video. She lost a daughter and wrongfully lost her daughter, rest in peace. But I think he thought that she had a lot of money coming to her because of the lawsuit involved. So he was hoovering her. I found out later on he was hoovering her because he thought he could benefit from her. Okay? So anyway, she came down for the funeral, and then after that, he never did show up to the funeral. He didn't even go to his brother's funeral. I don't know if he was afraid that we are going to all be in the same situation. The cowards he ran away from or whatever. And before the ex-supply baby mama got ready to leave out of town, I got wind that he was getting ready to leave out of town with her. Now, your sister was like, what? So someone told me, I think it was this, I can't remember who it was, but anyway, had said to me, he's supposed to go out of town with her. He's supposed to go back home with her. I'm like, back home with her and leave us here? And that's exactly what happened. But anyway, so I saw him, just so happened, I heard about it before they actually left. I seen him and I was like, No, I caught them on the road, fam. That's what happened. I was driving down the road towards his house and accidentally ran into him. And when I ran into him, we stopped in the street. And he was in the car with her. He was driving her car. Her and the kids were in the car. Like, they was a big happy family. Like, it's crazy, right? And I was like, what is going on, whatever. And the baby mother got out the car and was like, what's going on with us? What's going on? And I was like, look, we've been in a situation together for years. We've been in a relationship for, at the time, 12, 13 years. And he looked at me and he looked at her and said, she's lying. I haven't been with her that long. It ain't been no 12 years, maybe 5 or 6 years, 8 years, maybe the most. I ain't been with her that long. Now, keep in mind, at this time, my daughter was 11 years old. 11, and a pregnancy takes what? 9 months, fam? So you add that up. That's 11 years. So I said that to him. I said, okay, that's not true. Your daughter's 11 or 12, I think, or whatever. You do the math. That adds up. So am I making this up, right? But anyway, fam. He was like, well, I'm just going down there for my oldest daughter's birthday, and I'm going to celebrate my, and I'm sitting on the side of the road talking to him and the ex-baby mama. And she's like, yeah, he's going with me down there or whatever. And, I don't want him. And it's, you know how that goes. They go right along with the narcissist. They hoodwinks and everything. And I was looking at him and I was like, and I honestly said, like, look, fam, I was like, it's me. And I've said this in my other videos. I was looking at him like, this is me. Because I didn't know what I was dealing with. It's me. Like, it's me. I've been with you. Are you going to do me like this? And he was like, no, I'm going to go. So anyway, I got in the car and I left. So he left, went on with her. I think he was gone for 2 or 3 months. Never heard from him. No contact, no nothing. You know how they do. And they think they got something else going on. He went down there to try to benefit from him. But anyway, so a couple months or so 2 or 3 months went on. And I decided that I was done. Well, I thought, as you can understand, right? I thought I was done. Still in love. Didn't know what I was dealing with. He came back in town. And I'm not going to go into all that. But, of course, he hoovered me back in. He love bombed me up and said I was sorry. Didn't know what I was doing. I never do it again. I made a big mistake. I didn't go down there for that. I just went down there for whatever the case may be. And then come to find out, I found out, fam, that while he was down there, he stole checks from her. Tried to get money from her. This came out later, though. This came out later, fam. I didn't know that right away. But anyway, I knew that was, now looking back at it, that's exactly what he did. He went back there for his own benefit. And that's what narcissists do. So after that, he came back after that. And I was like, at a point where I was so hurt by it. Normal, right? I was so distraught by it that even though I loved him and I took him back to a certain degree. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't take him back fully. He was not living in my household or nothing like that. He was still living with his sister or whatever the case may be. And I was like, I just can't fully go there again. Because too many times in the past, I had done that. And you can understand that. I had went back. And this time I was like waking up a little bit to it. And I was like, no, I'm not letting you come back in here that easy. I'm going to make you work your way in, not knowing what I had going on. See, I thought it was just a person that maybe, and that's the hope that we have, that maybe if I hold out or whatever, it'll change. You already know that ain't the truth. Your sister now knows, okay? So I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to hold out. And I said, no, you can't live with me. You can't come back in my household. I'm not giving you all the benefits to me and what I got going on anymore. Because of what you just have done. So we were still talking, of course. And I was still letting him come around from time to time. Of course, I was doing it. Your sister's guilty, 100%. And he would come spend the night, but he wanted more. You know how that is. It's never enough. They want all of you or none of you. You know how it is with a narcissist, right? So I was like, okay, well, I'm still not ready. He would call me consistently, and I started getting so frustrated with it. I was like, stop calling me so much. I'm trying to, at this time, your sister trying to put her foot down, right? I'm trying to put my foot down, trying in hopes that if I put my foot down enough, right, that's what we'd be thinking. But this time around, maybe he'll respect me. This time around, he'll get it, and he'll change. Didn't know I was dealing with a narcissist. Did not know. Your sister did not know. I was dealing with a no good for nothing water bug. I didn't know it. YouTube don't block, right? But I did it. I'm giving you my story. So, after that, fam, I said before in the video, he started dealing with another, I didn't know he was dealing with another woman, but he was telling me low key, because they tell himself. He was going to a friend of his house all the time, and They were hanging out, and I was wondering, why is he at this person's house? He's not a hangout kind of, well, he's never been the kind of guy that plays cards and hangs out. And I think I said in another video, he was doing all those things almost every night. And I kept saying, well, why are you doing all this? And he was just like, well, I'm doing it because I'm just hanging with my friends or whatever case may be. So I noticed, this is the everyday. Now he calls me every day. He's begging every day. He's saying he's going to do it, this and that every day. Using the kids as a plot and all that other stuff involved. And then I remember, this is in January, he's just stopped calling, right? Which I thought was kind of strange. Now, we're still in contact. Well, at that time, we were supposed to be still in contact, in a little whatever relationship we had left, okay? And he stopped calling. Because I had told him to stop calling so much because he was doing too much, as narcissists do when they're trying to hoover you back in. So I was like, no, I'm not ready for that. So anyway, like 5-6 days went by and I didn't hear from him, which I needed the break. Don't get me wrong. But at that time, I started realizing, when you're in it, right? I was like, something's not right. That's not normal, right? That is when I found out. I went over there one day trying to figure out what's going on. I went over there and I was like, I ain't heard from him in days. And me and my oldest daughter went over there. And I found out that the new supply was there. That's the one I told you in the other videos. If you don't already know, I'll tell you again. I went in the household. He was acting kind of funny. Ended up going to the back bedroom, honey. Listen to me, fam. She was underneath the cover. She had hit it. The room was dark, so I couldn't see anything at first. And I was like, well, ain't nobody in here. It's like, yeah. He played along. He was like, I told you wasn't nobody in here. Something told me to pull the covers back. Now, listen, fam. I pulled the covers back. Up jumped the monkey. There it was, baby. There she was. She popped out looking crazy, cracked out, and all this stuff. I told you all that in the other video. And that's how it started. Immediately, I don't know if you all can understand, you and you. I knew the way that he was reacting and the way things played out. This wasn't just another person he maybe effed around with or something like that. I knew immediately this was different. And if you know a narcissist, you've been with them long enough to wing out different things, you can tell the difference in what they're doing, even if you don't know they're a narcissist, right? I knew immediately, fam. I was like, this girl right here, this is going to be a problem. And I won't say a problem like that, but of course I was still in love, so I was saying this is the problem, right? Like, I knew there was a deeper connection there than what had happened with anything previous I had been through, right? So after I found out, I talked to her that day as woman to woman because I give people a chance. And I was like, well, maybe she doesn't know about me. And I asked her, did she know about me? She said no. And I said, okay, well, now that you don't know about it, I understand that. But now that you know, right? He has a woman he's been with for years. And he has babies. You need to back off. Of course, she did not. Because at this time, he had enough time to groom her and tell all kinds of stuff. You know how that goes, right? So she thought she had something so grand, she was willing to fight for it. And at the time, I was too. But let me tell you something about that and listen to me. Don't ever fight for a narcissist. That's the worst thing you can do. You're not fighting for anything because you're going to win or you're going to lose. You're fighting for something because their ego's getting stroked while they see you and another person fighting over them. It ain't about winning and losing with them. The only person they feel is winning at the time is them. And listen to me when I tell you, they get a big smile and smirk on their face, right? They go along with it because it enchains them. It makes them feel important. You know, that's what's important to them, is to feel grand and important. So me and this other woman were fighting and bickering and going back and forth behind this no good man. Now, I remember him saying to me when I found out, I think I went back a couple days later or whatever, I said in another video, and she was there again. And I was like, you still here, knowing what you know, whatever the case may be? And she was like, yeah, well, he said he don't want you and all this other stuff. Which he probably did tell her that. But I still don't give her a pass for that. Because I'm going to tell you something. I always say, if you see somebody do that to somebody else, that should be a fucking red flag. If it ain't a red flag, it should be a blue, purple, green, and polka dot flag. I don't give a shit. That's a flag. You see somebody else treat somebody else that way, you better watch your back. And I mean that shit. Listen to your sister. So at the end of the day, I was like, okay. So you're going to keep doing this. You're going to keep going. And at this point, they're in cahoots. And you can understand what I'm saying. When they find a new supply and they really lock in on that and the new supply locks in them, you can't do anything with it. They're in cahoots together to band up against you, to defeat you, and to try to get you to go away, whatever the case may be. And for a minute, your sister fought, which I shouldn't have done. And listen to your sister. Don't do what I do. Do the opposite. Please listen to me. Don't fight for a space in a narcissist's life. Because there was never a space for you in the beginning. Listen to your sister. But anyway, so we went back and forth or whatever. And I remember I went through a period of the begging stage and trying to point out my good attributes in the very beginning. Like, I'm I've been with you this many years. I got your children. I've had your back. I've had your family's back. This is me. Why would you do this to me? And no matter what I said or done, it seemed like it made him resent me even more. Because he was already weaned into something else, right? And the new supply would laugh at me. I told you in other videos. And he ain't going to do this to me. And I went through a lot with that. So the final discard with me was when he finally started telling me straight up, like, you know what? Compared to this, you ain't shit. Compared to what I went through, she does this for me. She don't do this for me. Now, in the beginning, he was trying to play both sides to the middle. Like, oh, she's nothing to me. I still love you. But, that's just how they do in the beginning. When the truth started really come out, she was on a pedestal way above me. Not even 3 months. I'm not going to lie. 3 weeks, fam, into them dealing with each other. She was already on a high pedestal. That killed me. That killed me because I was like, all these years and 3 weeks is all it took for her to be on a higher pedestal than me? Hell, she don't even have babies with you. At least give me credit. I laid down and gave you children. Well, with them, it doesn't matter. Right? So, when he discarded me finally and he said the final words to me, and I'll never forget, he said to me one day, he said, you know what? You could never equal up to this because you didn't do X, Y, and Z. You didn't work as hard as she does. You stay home all the time and don't work. Now, keep in mind, at the time, now I'm going to keep it real with you and your sister's transparent. For many years, I did sit home because he worked. And also, I had 2 small babies, 9 months apart. I couldn't find a good job. Things are not easy, as we all understand and we know. Child care alone would have killed me, right? So I knew what was my benefit of what I needed to do and what I didn't do. Right? But I always maintained. I always held down the home. I made sure he had a place to live. No matter what I had to do I did it. And even after all of that, he still told me it wasn't enough and that she was better than me. Now keep in mind, the new supply has 7 children. And her history of drug abuse and all that, I'm not knocking whatever. I've come a long way because back in the day, I'd have called her every name except for the name of God. Or the child of God, I would have. But now, I'm just like, I'm not judging for what people go through. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at him like, my final discard came at the hands of a woman that got 7 children, do not have a job, won't never have a job because the record's so bad, drug addict, prostitute, and you're telling me that my worth is not that. So let me tell you something. The final discard and the discard story for me was the hardest thing in my life. Because I had to sit up and think about, because it makes you think, what all was wrong with me? It made me do all kinds of things that I never thought I would do, first of all. And it definitely made me look at myself in a different light. So here's the thing about it. And I'm giving you my discard story because my discard story was really, 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 really bad. Because not only did he discard me, his whole family discarded me. Yes, I was there for the whole family for years. I thought his sister was with my sisters. You know how it is. His brothers were my brothers. His children were my children. Now, nothing against the children, but you know what I mean. His friends were necessarily my friends. And I thought I was building this foundation in this group. And I found out the whole group was built on it wasn't built on a good foundation. It was built on water and sand. Because as soon as the fucking tide hit, they all left me. And that was hard for me with the final discard because not only did I lose a relationship with the narcissist, which I'm glad for now, I thought was family, thought were friends. After this, people never speak to me again. People don't call me again, everything. So in the beginning, it was the hardest thing because I felt betrayed on every fucking level. Now, today, I'm grateful that all those people, the fuck up out of my life. Yes, kick rocks, you no good for nothing. Scammers. Yes, scammers. That's what they all were. And I'm so grateful that it happened because I'm so grateful I don't have to live the rest of my life with those kind of people in my energy and I don't know what they're about. So I think that. But when I lost the situation with and I ain't say lost, when I got discarded and everybody else around me discarded me too, including family and stuff, it was the hardest struggle of my life. I remember going to family members saying, you know what he's doing to me? And in my face, they would say, Yeah, we know exactly what he's doing. Oh, it's so wrong. You were such a good woman. Da, 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 da. And I'm finding out behind closed doors, they're telling the new supply the same thing. Oh, she ain't nothing. She's crazy. He was tired of her. You the best thing that ever happened to him. You know what I'm saying? So when you go through the discard phase and look at your sister's story, and it, I'm probably missed some things, but I'm just putting it out there to let you know that if you've been discarded by a narcissist and you have a discard story, it's all narcissists are not the same, but the discard is the same, right? It's painful. It's a betrayal. It's confusing. And it's supposed to be damaging long term. But like I always tell you, ain't nothing damaging long term with a narcissist. You can win. You will win. I'll think the best of you. And if a narcissist discarded you and it's the hardest part of your life, and I trust me, I know they did you the biggest favor of your life, and so did the people involved in it. I told you before, to help you wing out the snakes, cut the grass, so you get rid of the people that are not supposed to be in the first place. Yes, that's my discard story. It was really fucked up, fam. But him discarding me gave me a brand new perspective on my life, and I appreciate him just 1%. No, 0.1%. And I thank the new supply. Rest in peace. That's it. Thank them too. I love you so much. When you get discarded, it's a gift, not a curse.